day.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pinkies and Pinups. Today, I have a video that I cannot wait to share with you guys. So stay tuned right after the intro. Welcome in. If you can hear me, can you please type a 1 in chat? Welcome in, Blood Dragon. It's good to see you. Oh, Lady O, always a blessing. I think I even seen Kaylee for a moment. Kaylee was sneaking in here. Let's start at the top of the chat before we get started. Really? Oh, Lady O. So every video that you've watched had 444 likes? Or 444 views? Either way, that's cool. Well, I hope you do stay awake for this live. Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee. How are you tonight? I'm great. How are you, love? Of course, me rambling on. Sorry, guys. I know I'm a little bit late. I had to get some dinner. I was kind of hungry. I tried a new medication and it's just like, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. I'm not into the pharma. So, yeah. So I have a video. I've been watching a lot of, civics, and it's just crazy the things that are actually coming to light and being brought forth in the forefront. Like, so things like that we may have had our own belief system on when it came to the vid or, our governmental system and how broken it is. And those things are actually being brought onto, Congress floor. So it's really nice to see a lot of these things, coming full circle where we don't feel like we're crazy because we're like, it doesn't seem like things are going this way. But people make us believe that they are. So it kind of opens our eyes up and says, hey, maybe we weren't as crazy as everybody was telling us. I am glad the speaker is speaking. Exactly. Exactly. I have to agree with you 1,000%. I also have another video, or not really a video. It's more like information on some red flags that I'm going to be addressing this evening. Let's see what else. Okay. So let me move that there, this here, and I can close this one. Yeah, I'm really digging our new House Speaker. He's awesome. Triple hair flip, 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 flip. That cracks me up. Kaylee's funny. I love Kaylee. She cracks me up. She really does. So let's see here. Hold on. Let me fix this camera real quick. Because it looks like I'm chewing on the screen. I'm like way too close. Woo. There. There, now it doesn't look like I'm chewing on the screen. Okay, maybe that's a little not close enough. Do, 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 do. Maybe a little back. There. Okay. So let me find this video real quick. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Let me see if it's this one. This is the about the oversight of the FBI. Like a lot of this is coming to the surface and it's great. Like, you know how when you're thinking to yourself, you're like, why does it seem like the judicial system isn't working like it should? Is it just our personal thoughts, our personal beliefs? Or are they really kind of flaking on the job? Welcome in, Susanna. It's good to see you. So good to see you. Fast Eddie. Mwah. Good to see you, love. So, if you're not into politics, I'm sorry, but politics have a lot to do with domestic violence and how our children are being raised and what is being told that is okay, what is not okay, and the things that they're doing that's promoting, more abuse within families or the judicial system not doing their job. So it's not in your head. For instance, there's families that have people that are missing. Kaylee is on top of a case, and it's about Alex Easterling and how he is missing. And they have made huge strides in trying to locate him. And it just seems as if like the judicial system isn't doing their job. They're not putting in forth effort to help find this young man. And it's like they put in part of the work just to look like they're busy, and then they kind of just get paid for doing nothing. And I know, some people when they're missing, it's not that easy to find them, especially if they're missing on purpose. But the fact of the matter is, like, sometimes law enforcement doesn't have the training, or they don't have the motivation to do their job as far as investigative work. And that's too bad, because I think there would be a lot less missing children, missing family members, if they did put forth effort into at least once a year taking a class on how to find people, just taking a class in general on forensics. There's always updates to technology and forensics, and I don't think that they stay on top of teaching. For instance, like doctors, like once every 6 months to a year, they'll take a class on what's the updated, you know, procedure. How do we do this? How do we prevent this complication during this procedure? I don't think law enforcement does that. And it's heartbreaking, because so many things can be um, mishandled when not done correctly. And when they're not handling a case correctly, things slip through the cracks. And then you have this thing that's called, um, oh my gosh, it slipped my mind. So you have a time limit, statute of limitations. So you have a statute of limitations, and if they don't proceed or don't do what they need to get done or find someone or whatever within a time period, they're less likely to go back and, keep working hard on it. It ends up a cold case file. Let's see. Welcome in, Just a Nobody. I did drop the link. I don't have a YouTube. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I do. I can pin it. At least I thought I dropped the link. Yeah, I did. There, I pinned it in case you guys can't get back to it. Okay, so who's got what? Who's got what? Most politicians. Okay, let me go through chat real quick. Oh, thank you, Susanna. You're so sweet. You know what? And I wasn't feeling good after I took the medication, so I didn't even do my hair or nothing, and I feel bad for you guys. Like, you have to look at me like this. So I may calm down just in case, I'm a little shy. Okay, so Fast Eddie says the other people are hating on her for it. Makes no sense. Hating on her for what? Hating on who? Kaylee? For the Alex Easterling case? You know what? Kaylee is a really good investigator, as far as she has the ability to take two pieces of information and it be like a piece of, like a puzzle piece. And she takes the information and she puts it together in a way that she can explain it to you. She's very witty. And she's very good at what she does. And I believe that she could be a very good private investigator if she puts her mind to it. She could, maybe even go into law enforcement later on in life if she wants to. She has the ability to put those pieces together and like work a story, you know? You know what I mean? Like she's good at that. The judicial system don't do sheets in these cases because we don't force them to do it. Exactly. We don't force them to do it. And that is the problem. Basically, is what's going on with Congress is now we have a bunch of congressmen in there. They're like, hey, we're freaking done. You guys made these promises. You haven't followed through with them. And they're putting it out on the table. They're putting everything out on the table, even to do with COVID. They're like, you guys knew that this stuff was dangerous, that the shot shouldn't have been given. Like there's certain people that shouldn't have had it. And you blocked us from talking about it. They did. I'm going to play that video. They censored us. Like we were not allowed to have our own voices. This is a free country, right? Like we're allowed to voice our opinion. We're allowed to, make sense of things that don't make sense to us when they're being forced upon us. I don't understand why we're too afraid to say something that these people, people are supposed to work for us, and they are supposed to work for us. They are supposed to be our voice. So if we have common concerns about, well, is this that healthy? I want more than just one doctor's opinion on this. I want multiple doctors' opinion on this. If you have a procedure that you need to get done, do you go to one doctor and say, well, this is what this one doctor said? Or do you go to multiple doctors and say, okay, well, let's hear what everybody has to say and then put it together kind of in a little bucket and then say, okay, well, this makes sense and this makes sense. Well, maybe I shouldn't have to get this surgery done, or maybe I should have to get this surgery done. You're not just going to take the first opinion. Hey, just nobody. Puff Muffin says most politicians are thinking of themselves and their own interest. Exactly. If it doesn't affect them, they're not concerned. They're not. They're not wondering what they're having for turkey dinner. They're not wondering where they're going to lay their head at night. Their families are taken care of. Who's got it? Who's got what? I still don't know what that one means. MetaGuide says, finding children is for something beyond your average police officer. Exactly. So when you have a regular deputy working a case like this, not for me, but working for a case like the one that Kaylee works on, is not for your average Buster Brown. It's not. There's specific people that are trained to do that job. And if they don't get the training in small towns or, smaller communities, they have to have outside resources come in, and they don't want to do that because it brings what? It brings it out to the news. It brings it out, into the open, like, oh, you guys don't have training for this. Then, how do you handle cases like this? And then they get in trouble. And good luck on ever getting law enforcement to say they messed up, because it is very, very rare that you'll have a law enforcement agency say, we messed up, because they get in trouble. Yes, she is very good at what she does. Very proud of her. American Honey, good to see you. Let's see. Happy Saturday. Fast Eddie says they claimed state of emergency and they took our rights away. Exactly. But you still have rights. There's still hundreds of thousands of people that did not get that vax. I'm just saying. Are they in jail? No. Because it would go against your legal right of freedom to make that choice. Now, for those of you that were threatened with your career, oh, if you don't get this and that is completely wrong. I think for those that were scared of getting sick, they should have stayed at home. That should have been a voluntary thing for them to stay at home. because then it's taking away your freedom rights, your rights to freedom of choice. If you want to get the shot, you get the shot. If you don't want to get the shot, then don't get the shot. It takes away our right to speak, our right to our own personal views and our own personal bodies. Everybody's body is different. I have lupus, for instance, and I did get it. And I had terrible, terrible reaction from it. So, I can vouch that it wasn't just, oh, that hurt my arm, like my little toes and stuff swelled up, my little phalanges swelled up. And then it was like it had a high dose of caffeine in it or something. Like I was like super hyper afterwards. And they said that the medication is actually mixed with a sucrose. And so that feeling I was getting was from the extra sugar inside the medication. Yeah. There's people, there's a little girl, well, she's not that little, who can't walk now because of it. Let's see. She was a client of mine's daughter. Brings it to the light. Yeah, exactly. Bring it into the light. Yep. Okay. I hope she comes back. I'm sure she's hopping around. I'm sure she will. And yeah, Kaylee is very, 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 very good at that. I'm proud of her. Like she does really well when it comes to like the true crime thing. I'm not a real true crime person. I like dealing with facts only. I'm not big on the what if this, what if that. I like just digging through the forensic part of it, the facts part. And then, trying to come up with a conclusion versus like the deep diving, deep digging. And there's some aspect to it that I enjoy, like when we're looking through pictures and we're looking for little cues and like things like that. Yeah, I do enjoy. But the long, long, I guess if you have the right group of people that you can sit there and throw ideas at and you guys get along real well, it could be okay. But it's just, I guess maybe here on YouTube, it's just not that easy. It becomes a convoluted mess. Mm-hmm. Right, Puff Muffin? Okay, I think I have caught up with chat. So I'll give a moment for a few more people to hop in. Um, oh, get to know. Do I hear a puppy dog?
What's up, sweetheart?
Do I hear a puppy dog?
Yeah, we got two of them now.
Oh, I could hear him like shaking his little leash thing.
Yeah, he was scratching his collar.
So, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, I guess, for the most part.
That's good. I'm sorry I'm late. I know you were probably like, "Yep, she's late as always."
Of course I was. Of course I was.
Was I at least fashionably late? Not like
Oh, always.
I know, and I messaged B, so B should be in here. I messaged B or I was talking to him on the phone, I believe. And I was like, I think I had a live at 6:30. I think I'm going to be late because I was in the middle of trying to eat. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm bad.
Yeah.
So I'm a real fan of this guy too. Let me tell you what his name is. And I'm going to post the link to this one in chat. His name is Chip Roy. And I believe he is a Texas congressman. And he's like good enough to be like a preacher. Like he's up here. Like spilling his guts. And he's like, this shit ain't right. It's not right. And he's like, and I'm in here in this room by myself because everybody else decided to run home to have Turkey Day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start with that one.
We need that certain kind of vigilante, You know what I mean? In our congressmen, and we don't have that anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, back. I mean, even before I was born, like politicians were there, were ready to fight for the rights of people.
You're gonna love this
Now
guy.
it's
I'm telling
the
you.
last thing that they want to do. That's the last thing they want to do is fight for our rights.
I'm telling you, you're gonna love this guy. I'm gonna play it. You're gonna love him because he's like, what are you guys sitting around doing? You guys are doing nothing. You guys said that you guys were gonna do all this stuff and nothing's done. You said you were
Yeah.
gonna build a wall and Mexico's gonna pay for it. That we ain't got no wall. How are we a free country? Oh my God, he gets into it. He's like, how are we a free country if we don't even have freedom of speech?
Yeah, no shit.
We didn't have freedom of choosing to take a shot, vax,
A jab.
a jab. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he says, he goes, you guys know there's documented proof. And we were all told that we were conspiracy theorists because we're like, there's something not right. There's something not right.
Right.
And he says in Congress, so you know it's true because he's saying it right there. He's like, you guys know that we were shut up. Doctors didn't agree and you shut them up. And now there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of cases knowing that it was dangerous.
Yep. And they don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit. It's just thinning the herd, right?
Yep.
Man, my channel is going to be so flagged. I'll probably never be monetized again after this.
Look at Inky go. Look at Pinky go, the rebel Pinky.
Yeah, I'm tired of being all nice and sweet to get my monetization. You know what? I've been monetized. It wasn't all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to chip in and help out Inky, I got a Cash App. I'll drop that below. Hold on. I got a Cash App, a PayPal, a Venmo. Yeah. Anyways. So
I just don't have Zelle, okay? Just don't Zelle me.
Don't Zelle you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll play this guy first. Well, no, let me play the other guy first. Oh my gosh. I love our new House Speaker. He is freaking the bomb. Let me see if it's this one. Is it this one?
Is it not charging again?
Let me find it. Oh, I saw a little baby kangaroo. He was saved by a motorcyclist and he was like this big. It is so cute. I'll have to share that one in my community page. Oh my gosh.
An old friend of mine.
I want a little pet kangaroo.
He's got too many kangaroos.
I want one, just one.
Yeah. They're cool.
Oh, I think it's this one.
Hi, Olidio. How are you tonight, my spiritual mom?
Okay. So present. I think it's this one. This is where he takes on the Department of Justice.
Oh yeah.
Share screen.
Ain't one of those people that work at the Department of Justice care about justice when it comes to citizens of this country. They really don't.
Okay, are you guys ready? If you're ready, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let me scroll back 15 seconds. Now, CNN, they don't start the recording at the beginning of it. It's kind of like they clip stuff and then they'll put it on repeat. So if it starts to repeat, let me know.
Their unwillingness to enforce the law is putting lives in jeopardy. And the very lives that are in jeopardy are the ones that Ms. Escobar just tried to obscure the issue. The bill on the floor last night was real simple. Yeah, we know that Supreme Court justices have protection, but their children do not. And the children of the justices of this court, their schools, addresses and locations have been doxxed. Where they go to church is being put out by Ruth sent us and all these other.
Wait. Don't we all have a little bit of that issue? Whoa, did I just hear what he said? He said doxxed. But it wasn't an issue when it was one of us, right?
Of course not.
Of course not. It wasn't an issue for, say, you to be doxxed or Kaylee to be doxxed.
My kids to be doxxed.
Let somebody in Congress.
Crazy far leftist groups, and they are jeopardizing the lives. And the fact that 27 of our Democrats.
Wait, did he just say it's going to jeopardize someone's life to be doxxed? Did I hear that correct?
I think so. You might want to rewind it.
Yeah, for those in the back, I'm going to rewind it. Just letting y'all know.
Their unwillingness to enforce the law is putting lives in jeopardy. And the very lives that are in jeopardy are the ones that Ms. Escobar just tried to obscure the issue. The bill on the floor last night was real simple. Yeah, we know that Supreme Court justices have protection, but their children do not. And the children of the justices of this court, their schools, addresses and locations have been doxxed. Where they go to church is being...
Wait, I have to pause this just for a moment. Do you see his wallet sitting right here? Does anybody else see that? G2K? Get to know.
Sorry, I just had to show up. Hang on a second.
So, do you see his wallet right there with all the money in it? He ain't even trying to hide that. Okay, I digress.
Being put out by Ruth sent us and all these other crazy far leftist groups, and they are jeopardizing the lives. And the fact that 27 of our Democrat colleagues would not vote to give protection to the defenseless, innocent children of justices is not only patently absurd and dangerous, it works to undermine the institution of the court itself. Who wants to be a federal judge in this environment? Who's going to subject themselves and their families to that when the Congress...
Now, they're making a big issue out of this because this is federal judges, right? But that's somebody that's like of serious importance. Those are people that lock people up.
Yeah.
You never know what kind of evil person's going to be like, hey, Bob, I just got locked up, so muck this person out, right? But they don't think about it being dangerous for us here on YouTube, right?
They don't care.
Because you could go to YouTube and say, hey, my life is being put in danger. You could go to Facebook, hey, my life's being put in danger. I'll go to law enforcement. How many of you guys in chat
Me
have complained to law enforcement that someone was running your name through the mud and trying to dox you, threatening you?
Me.
And they're like, oh, they're thousands of miles away. It's no big deal.
Yep.
Let a federal judge be put in that position or their children. Oh, all of a sudden it's an issue. Let's rewind it one more time. And I promise I won't pause it this time.
Their unwillingness to enforce the law is putting lives in jeopardy. And the very lives that are in jeopardy are the ones that Ms. Escobar just tried to obscure the issue. The bill on the floor last night was real simple. Yeah, we know that Supreme Court justices have protection, but their children do not. And the children of the justices of this court, their schools, addresses and locations have been doxxed. Where they go to church is being put out by Ruth sent us and all these other crazy far leftist groups. And they are jeopardizing the lives. And the fact that 27 of our Democrat colleagues would not vote to give protection to the defenseless, innocent children of justices is not only patently absurd and dangerous.
What makes these
works
fucking
to undermine the institution of
any
the
more
court
fucking
itself.
important than mine?
Who wants to be a federal judge in this environment? Who's going to subject themselves and their families to that when the Congress, this branch of government, won't even stand up for the other one? How are our institutions going to survive if our colleagues will not take a simple vote like that? And don't say, oh, well, they voted against it because the bill wasn't broad enough. Staffs weren't mentioned in that particular piece of legislation. You could have filed that bill this morning and it would pass the Congress unanimously. And
it would have.
Yep.
I love this guy. I love this guy. So, for those of you in the back, these are my bullshit antennas. So, when I'm ready to call bullshit, they go off. They're like, dude. I say this is bullshit. Yeah. Inky's bullshit antennas. I'm not being nice anymore. I'm over it. Hello, Scott. Welcome in. Yeah, these are my BS antennas, and I'm calling BS. They could protect any of those people from being doxxed, just like they could make it a law to protect any of us. And that includes Scott, American Honey. American Honey's been ran through the ringer. I remember distinctly. Blood Dragon, I don't know them for very long, but I know others in chat. Fast Eddie, all of us except for the new my newer friends that I've made here. have been ran through the mud,
Yep, I have
called
been.
things that we should never have been called, people trying to dig up our pasts. Bullshit. That's what I say. There needs
Yep.
to be a law to protect us as human beings. We're all human. We have feelings. Let's play.
You all know that. You're in the majority, but you are using this for politics. You are trying to send a
Exactly.
message to the radical left
Beep,
that you
beep,
want
beep,
them on
beep,
those
beep.
lawns. You want them intimidating justices. You want them to create this tinderbox, this dangerous situation. And I just think it is unconscionable. I think that was one of the worst votes that anybody could take in their career. It is indefensible, and don't even try to obscure the facts. Everybody in America can look at that bill themselves and see how simple that was, straight up or down. Do you want to support the innocent lives, defend the innocent lives of children or not? They voted no. I yield back.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Crazy, isn't it?
Mike Johnson.
Gotta
man.
love this guy. I love this guy. Yep, calling out the BS alert because they're not trying to even protect us at all. How many people in chat have called and complained?
Me.
Mm-hmm. Does a bear shit in the woods? Exactly. I think that's what he said. Does a bear shit in the woods? Okay.
Since the chairman brought it up, you went there, Mr. Chairman. Here's the record. Democrats have engaged in a years-long effort to take funding and resources away from police departments, all right? Many large jurisdictions around the country, such as New York City, the chairman's city, have defunded their police departments. Some of these jurisdictions have defunded their police departments.
Why would you defund your police department? They're the ones that are here to protect us.
Supposedly.
You know, I mean, come on. I think there's people at Ford's probably getting paid more than the law enforcement. And the law enforcement's the ones that are out there like risking their life.
Or
Just saying.
Or are they? You know what I mean? Like
Well,
a lot
no,
of-
right now they're not because they're not getting paid enough to risk their life. Would you? If you were getting paid $20, $25 an hour, $30 an hour,
Oh,
you have people building a computer chip that are getting paid freaking $100 an hour.
yeah.
Okay. To build a stupid little computer chip. And you have somebody out there risking your life, including our military. Our military soldiers.
Military's different than police, I think. I mean,
No, they're still going overseas, risking their life. There's
Yeah,
no
but-
different. Police walk the street every day and can get shot at.
right. Well, I mean, to be fair, and like I said, I'm sure this is not a very popular opinion, and some people might even get mad at me, but to be fair, they're the ones that they're the ones that say, I want to do this job. You know what I mean?
So does the military.
Huh?
So does the military.
Right. But when it comes down to police, like that's the job that they fully basically say, I want to do and go do it. So they mean, I mean, they know
So
what
you
they
have
know what
two
kind-
groups in the military. So you have two groups in law enforcement. You have the group that wants control. Their need for control. Okay.
Right.
They feel dominant. It's kind of like your pharmacist. They feel dominant over your medications. Then you have the ones that are truly out there to help people. Those are the good doctors. Same thing. So there's two types. One that wants the control and one that truly has the heart of gold that really wants to help people. And so
Mhm.
far, out of our entire Congress, I've come across a handful of people that are actually like really speaking out now, bringing things to light that we've never heard before, that I've never heard before come out of their mouths. Like I have never heard people from Congress stepping up and saying, hey, this is bullshit. And you know what? And when they do, they're slammed for it. Oh, you're far right. You just don't want freedom. We should be able to do what we want. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I
Departments
get it.
are represented by Democrat members of this committee. Indeed, several Democrats on the committee have voiced support for defunding the police, and here's some of that. Chairman Jerry Nadler publicly agreed with reducing the New York Police Department's budget, stating, quote, this is your words, Mr. Chairman, there should be substantial cuts to the police budget and a reallocation of those funds to where we need them, unquote. Karen Bass.
If they cut law enforcement's budget, do you think law enforcement's going to work any harder than they already do? No. People will quit. They'll go get a stay-at-home dad job, stay-at-home mom job.
I believe like teachers and for the most part, most law enforcement should be some of the higher paying jobs in our country. But
Law enforcement, military, teachers, and doctors should get paid the most. I'm just saying. Because if someone's going to be taking care of my safety and my health, I want to make sure they're getting paid well. So they have the drive to do their job.
right. But the
If
reason they
they're
don't
if
get
law
paid all
enforcement
that much
isn't
is
doing it now and they get money taken away from them, they're not going to want to work at all. I'm just saying. And I'm not saying
right.
all law enforcement is good, nor am I saying all law enforcement is bad. I have come across good judicial system and bad judicial system, as you well know. But if you take the money away from them, we're not going to have any good in there. Because we as people should know our value. So for instance, like when you went and got your job and I was like, no, your value, like you can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we know
Yeah,
our
no, I get
value
it.
as a human being, they're going to be like, psh, I step back because that's their life. Doctors, certain types of doctors have very dangerous lives. So, people that do forensics, certain doctors, can you imagine going to a doctor, doctor not doing their job right? Not saying they're not doing their job right. Say something didn't work out right. Whatever it was that you went in there didn't get fixed. And you have an irate patient, like the post office back in the day. They deal with that stuff too. Like I have a really good friend of mine. She is a doctor. And she's like, we have one of the most dangerous jobs ever. You get an irate patient in here, unreal. Use your imagination is what I'm saying, because I can't really say it on here. Use your imagination. So if we take away these types of things, they're going to want to do even less. They need funding for training. For instance, like we were discussing earlier with, the missing kids, they need the ability to have the stuff for forensics to know, I was just watching a video. Kaylee was saying that they had to send the screen records, the live video feed, to another company to have the video feed pulled out and put on a thumb drive or something to that effect. If I remember correctly, I believe Fast Eddie was there. Puff Muffin was probably there too. The law enforcement should have the ability to do that right there. So it doesn't change hands. You know what I'm saying? Once
Yeah.
that piece of evidence changes hands and it is not signed off on, it is no longer admissible in court.
The integrity of it goes away. Yeah.
The integrity of it's gone. Every document I have on my daughter's situation, it's all documented. It changed hands on this day. It changed hands on this day. This is where it's at on this day.
Yeah.
All the way to the point that I have multiple copies of it, because in case I lost one, I still had others. But what I'm saying is it's all down on paper. Like they have to sign it off. If somewhere in that mix it gets mixed up, it's no longer admissible in court. The integrity is gone.
Yeah.
That happens with any type of evidence. And so if you have a defunded police department, or even, and then you have a bunch of people in Congress that don't want to speak up because it doesn't technically affect them or their personal lives, they're not going to want to fix things.
Yeah. See, and that's kind of where, like a lot of people don't really remember or realize, like, well, I don't even remember a time that it was like this, but, like when the first police officers and stuff, they did their job voluntarily. That's why the integrity of a police officer was so great. That's why That's why, like, the term pig, it literally stood for pride, integrity, and guts is what it stood for. You know what I mean? That's why they started calling, you know what I mean? And like, that's why they were called pigs, is because they had pride, integrity, and guts. And that's like once you start paying people, money to do a job, there's always that chance that they're going to become, especially when you want more and more money. It puts a trust factor in there. You know what I mean? Because somebody who is volunteering to do that kind of job is way more trustworthier than a person who's getting paid for that job. You know what I mean? Like this person's going to go out there and risk his life for you, and he's not getting paid for it. He's doing that because that's what he wants to do. He wants to protect people. You know what I mean?
Or control.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be admirable. And it was even the same way then. We have to remember, if we would have had the technology back in the 40s and the 30s that we do now, could you imagine how much crooked stuff was going on? You know, it just didn't make it cross state lines or out of town. You know, that stuff was brushed under the rug. Look at the Marilyn Monroe situation. That stuff was brushed under the rug.
Yeah.
You know,
see, like when like Fast Eddie and Puff Muffin saying right here, you know, about our soldiers and stuff. Like our soldiers are these American men and women go off to protect not just our country, but other countries and what's right. And they come back home and they get treated basically the worst of the worst. And I think that if you go into the military and you make it home, you should never have to worry about a bill again. You shouldn't have to worry about a power bill or where you're going to get groceries from, or a home, a car. You should be handed everything to be. You put your life on the line, and we're willing to die for a bunch of us to sit here and be pricks and assholes. Like, you know what I mean? That's like the greatest, like that should be rewarded the most out of anybody.
Mm-hmm. And I agree, because they go into the most dangerous zones ever.
Yeah.
You know, not every single service member has had to, you know, have boots on the ground, but they all do their own part.
I'm talking about like those the men and women that go into combat and have bullets fired at them and fire bullets. Like those men and women should never have to have a want again in their lifetime. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
And I agree. But I also think that law enforcement has they should have that same privilege. They should have that same privilege where they are protected. Now, I think that they need to really tighten up the belts on who we have as law enforcement, because a lot of them aren't in there for the right reasons. So, you know, again, this goes back to Inky thinks that there should be better training, more knowledgeable. We're not running them through 6 weeks of boot camp and putting them out there on the street.
Like when it takes 18 months of going to school to become a hairstylist, and it only takes 6 weeks to become a police officer, there's from my opinion, there's something majorly fucking wrong with that picture. This person's going to cut my hair, and they have more training in their profession than this person who's going to put my life in their hands. I need to put my life
depending on what state, it's 1,600 hours. Well, a hairstylist, so it's like 2,600 hours.
Well, I know here, at least in Pocatello,
or 6,000 hours.
Anyway, it's 18 months worth. So however long that is, you know what I mean? Like they're in class 18 months out of their training, and it's like, well, this person is going to just cut hair. They've got 18 months of training, and this person they're supposed to know all these rules and these laws and these penalties. And when when they sit there and they're like, you know, I pulled you over for this, and I'm looking at them like, well, that's not even illegal. Like, if you read the way the law's written, if you knew, like, if you're a police officer, you should be able to recite the laws and the codes, and if you're gonna cite, you should be able to read what it means. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you should know
It's
the laws.
1,000 hours. It's 1,000 hours. It was 1,500 hours, and they dropped it to 1,000. Wow.
So it's even worse than it used to be.
Yeah, because it says it was reduced from 1,600 hours to 1,000 hours. Yeah, and barbers needed only 1,500 hours. Was dropped to 1,000 hours. When I was in school and I did that, yeah, it was 1,600 hours.
And how many hours of training do you have to become a cop?
I believe it's either 6 or 12 months. Hold on. $833 hours, you guys. Just saying. The average length is 833 hours in the United States.
833 hours to become a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
and be responsible for constitutional rights, laws, taking people's freedom from them, life and death situations. 883 hours, and you got to have a minimum of 1,000 hours to cut my fucking hair. What's wrong with that picture?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying. They're law enforcement these days, all the new recruits, all the new deputies, they come in, they don't know how to run a big case. And a lot of times the criminals are let go because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, they go with their gut. They're like, oh, it is what it is. And they just let them go.
Yeah. You know, like the topic of my channel, you know, the main thing we focus on my channel, like, here this lawyer is, they go to school for however long it takes them to become a prosecuting attorney, and the first thing they want to do is they approach that parasite and they give him a plea bargain. It's like, I don't really want
The reason they do a plea
job.
bargain is, okay, so for those that don't understand how a plea bargain works, so if a plea bargain is not offered, they could lose the conviction altogether. So a lot of times they will do a plea bargain just to get the conviction.
And that's wrong.
That is wrong. But would you rather them not get convicted at all, or at least get convicted on a plea bargain?
I would rather me being the victim, I would rather be given an option of whether I want, after all, like after you report it to the police officers and they pick up charges or whatever, it's no longer about you. You know that it's no longer about it's really no longer about the victim. It's really what they're focused on is getting a conviction for whatever they can get a conviction for. And like if I was able to prosecute the parasite that did what he did to me, and a prosecuting attorney came up to me and said, well, would you rather just have this conviction and have it so he doesn't even have to register as a sex offender, but yet he still got a conviction? Because that happens all the time. There are so many of these cases that don't even have to register as a sex offender because it's part of the plea bargain. And that's like, I don't
even think that should be on the table, in my opinion. I think anybody that has been convicted of a sexual violent crime should have to register
for life.
For life.
Till the day they fucking die. And then it should be fucking etched onto their headstone.
I think that they should have to be chipped, but again, I've been told that kind of thing is inhumane.
Well, I think what they do is inhumane, so I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? Like, for real. But like,
I mean, I've asked about it. I'm like, is there a way? Like, I know somebody in chat's going to disagree with me, and I'm going to probably get a rational shit for it. But I believe, like, when our children are born, they should be chipped. Not because of the Bible or because of the, Satan or whatever, but because there would be less missing kids. And if your kid did come up missing, guess what? There's a beeper on them.
Yeah, like you should
And I've been
have
told that's inhumane. And I'm like, inhumane?
here.
And
Let
I
me
came
tell
up
you
with that
something.
idea. Wait, hold on. I came up with that idea
Yeah.
when my son, I lived in some apartments when he was really young. And so this was back in like 98. Okay. And he had walked across the little grass gully of the apartments to his friend's house. Well, that friend wasn't home. So he went down a couple of, down a half a building to his other buddy's house. And I start looking for him. And I'm stressing out. She goes, "No, he's not here. My son's not even home from school yet." And I think someone's done picked up and walked off with him. And I could see him walk over there. He's like 3 years old. I watched him walk right over there. It's not a big area, but he didn't tell me he was leaving there. And so I freaked out, called the police. Police came out and they're like, "Well, he has to be missing for 24 hours." And 24 hours, 24 hours, they could be out of the country.
Yeah.
24 hours, you can drive halfway across the country. I know, I've done it. Good
Yeah.
luck finding them in, Zimbabwe. And I was
Yeah.
like, why can't they just put like a permanent anklet that can't be cut off? Or if it is cut off, it sends off an alert or something. Even if they don't chip them, just something. They have them on in the hospital when they're born now. They get a little beeper put on their leg. Why can't we just keep the little beeper on them until they're 18 so there'd be less missing kids? And if it does get cut off by said assailant, then law enforcement knows immediately. You know what I mean? But they don't
Yeah.
take those precautions for our children.
No, they don't.
Shoot, I would have one put on me just for shits and giggles in case I did come up missing. You know what I mean? I would voluntarily do it. I wouldn't care. If I come up missing, I'd hope that somebody would come hunt me down, look for me.
Yeah, me too. Well, maybe not.
But you're a male, so it's a little different. Women, I think are
absolutely.
more at risk when it comes because we have a smaller stature. We're not built for boxing. We're not built to, fight off bullies. We're just not built for that.
You're not built to be you're not built to be a man. You're
Be a
built
man.
to be a woman.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
So
logical.
exactly. And so I'm like, I'm looking at this cop and he's like, "Oh, you're just inhumane." And I'm like, "Oh." He was a biblical kind of guy. And he goes, "Oh, don't you know about Revelations and this and that?" And I'm like, at this point, I just want my son back. I don't know where he's at. He comes moseling in the house and I'm just bawling. He's like, "Mom, what's wrong? You didn't tell me you were going over here. You told me you were going over there." Anyways, so, I mean, that whole, I just think there needs to be a tighter grip on perpetrators, and
Parasites,
a way
yeah.
to be able to track our children better, so there's less missing kids. It's not
Yeah.
asking a whole lot.
No, it's not. No, you keep saying that, like, that inhumane thing. Here, let me tell you
Because
about
that's
what.
the
Let me
word
tell
he
you,
used with me, get to know. That is
yeah,
the
that's
word he
crazy.
used with me. He goes, "You are inhumane." And I was like, "No, I'm pro-life for my child. I don't want anything to happen to him."
Yeah, let me tell you something that's inhumane. Okay, when you're 5 years old and you get sodomized by a full-grown man, that's fucking inhumane.
Inhumane. Yep.
That's inhumane. When you sexually touch a child, that's inhumane. You lose every God-given right
Credibility.
you have.
Yep.
Period. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Hate me for it or not. You don't deserve to live. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't. When you take it to an extent like that, to the level of shit, when shit happened to me, like what happened to my sister Darlene, like what's happened to so many of us, like that's the ultimate inhumane you can get. You cannot get any more inhumane than that. You took somebody's innocence before they even knew what innocence was.
Exactly.
I had no clue.
And a
But
lot
yet
of
these calls,
times, you know,
good.
even if you did know what it was or what it meant, you're not of the right mind of the age to understand, do I want this? Do I not want this? Is how is this going to harm me mentally in the future? You can't make those
Yeah.
decisions yet. I don't think even at, I would say 25. And I know there's probably people that watch that are younger than 25. Trust me, even at 25, I didn't feel that I was capable of making decisions for my child that I had at 22. Like, I'm like, this is his whole life and I'm the adult. Like, I have to think about his best interest for until he's 18, you know? And even then, as a parent, trust me, even after they're 18,
Yeah.
you're still looking out for their best interest, whether they like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it comes with age, maturity and knowledge comes with age. Even if you spend years in college, you know, I had two majors, two different majors, and I still feel like when it comes to certain things, like, I really have to question my own personal judgment. And because a lot of times we make decisions out of emotion and not out of logic, or out of logic and not out of emotion. It just comes with
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And if even if I, and I can admit it, didn't feel that I could make all the best decisions for my children at 25, you think they could really make them at 10 or 15 or 17? No, there's some
Yeah.
mentally crooked person in the judicial system that says, "Hey, let's make the legal age for, you know, fornicating 17 or 16 in some places."
Didn't
I
like
can't
Minnesota
imagine. Huh?
didn't Minnesota just like lower their age of consent to 15?
I don't know. But I think that's ridiculous because did you have the right mind of thinking like, "Oh,
No.
well, I could end up pregnant." Well, I know you're a guy, but man, I could end up pregnant if I do that. Or, um, and I get it. It's our as a parent, it's our job to teach children, you know, you shouldn't do this before you're married and this and that. But in today's society, they don't even think about commitment before fornicating and bringing children into the world. It's
Yeah.
way beyond that at this point. Now it's like, just go out, have fun, make your bread, and be you.
And it doesn't matter what happens at the end of that. What comes with
No,
that, whether you have a baby or not. Like, we won't hold you
no, because
responsible.
they're trying to do the abortion laws where you can have an abortion up to the time you deliver.
Yeah.
That's a full grown child. I mean, at 6 weeks, it has a heartbeat. I mean, at 4, I don't remember if my daughter was 3 weeks or 4 weeks when I heard her heartbeat for the first time, because I did IVF.
Yeah.
So they had to monitor me from the time that they implanted the embryo. So I knew way before anybody else would have known. Like, I knew I was pregnant at 3 weeks pregnant, where most people don't find out till they're 6 weeks pregnant. So I
Right.
got to see the heartbeat way early. So anybody who says that, you know, that little baby that's in there is not a baby is out of their gourd, because they just don't have the knowledge of embryology. They don't know how it works. They don't know how it functions. And it's a lack of knowledge. That's all it is our world is becoming stupid.
Yes. You couldn't have said it better. You couldn't have said it better. You're like,
The lack of education in all fronts, whether it's law, whether it's family values, whether it's
life.
just life values.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't remember the last time I seen a young kid open up the door for an old person or a woman, or you know what I mean? It's like I scared the hell out of a lady earlier today. Like, I was coming out of Wendy's with an order, and I kind of cut her off a little bit so I could I had my arms full of stuff. I kind of cut her off a little bit so I could open up the door for her, because she had her hands full of stuff, and I was like, "Here, I'll get it." You know what I mean? And she like jumped back. She like looked at me like, "What are you fucking doing? Like, are you really what kind of creep are you?" And I'm looking at her like, "I'm just trying to help you." I'm like,
Old Lady O, she says, unfortunately, those who are involved in mid-control agenda don't want that to happen. They don't
Mind
want us to learn.
control, mind control.
Yeah, mind control agenda. They don't want us to get smart. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to use our personal judgment. Yep. Bullshit antennas. Woot,
Yeah.
woot. Exactly.
The power that comes with being a free thinking individual, open-minded person is
It's out the door.
you can't even measure it. It's unsurmountable. The power of knowledge is fucking amazing. And they cannot have us knowledgeable about anything because knowledge is power. Power becomes knowledge. Knowledge is power. And they
Exactly.
have to have it.
Puff Muffin, do you have a channel? Does Puff Muffin have a channel? Why isn't Old Lady O a moderator? Old Lady O, if you have a channel, please drop your link. Puff Muffin, if you have a channel, drop your link.
I agree, Puff
Meta
Muffin.
Guide. Sorry, guys. I'm a little behind.
Yeah.
American Honey,
Puff
if you
Muffin.
have a channel, drop your link. Connect. Get to know each other.
Yeah, get to know.
Yeah, get to know. Get to know, get to know. Right?
Get to know, get to
Okay.
know. I'm just waiting
Let's
for
finish
that
this.
jerk just to nobody to show up in here when I'm up here finally. When him and I are gonna have a show off, I'm
Oh.
telling you what. We're gonna have a showdown. I'm telling you, it's coming down. It's coming down hardcore. I just ever catch I catch when I catch him in the chat, it's on. Trust and believe that. It's gonna go down.
Right?
It's gonna be epic.
Dual personality.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Let's
Yep,
see what
for
else this
real.
guy has
I
to
swear
say.
he's
I
got
love
multiple
this guy.
personalities.
I do.
Representative Bass stated that calls to defund the police can, quote, be used as a distraction, yet she supported the intent behind the messaging. Representative Jamal Bowman, March 2021, tweeted, quote, too many police in our country are more concerned with protecting white supremacy than serving the communities they pay their salaries. Then he tweeted the next month, we don't need police with lethal weapons carrying out routine traffic stops. Reallocate police funding to unarmed traffic forces to remove even the possibility of.
Wait, what did he say? Something about us not being able to bear arms? Weren't they trying to do that too? So if law enforcement isn't going to protect us, then we need to be able to protect ourselves. So by taking away our weapons is bullshit. Just saying.
State-sanctioned manslaughter. Cori Bush is a very vocal member of this committee and a Democrat Party at large. She had a tweet. She responded to a tweet from former President Barack Obama. By the way, she's the vice chair of the crime subcommittee here. She said, quote, it's not a slogan, it's a mandate for keeping our people alive. Defund the police. February 2022, this is just a couple months ago, when challenged about the popularity of the Defund Police platform, Ms. Bush stated, quote, defund the police is not the problem. In March this year, shortly after President Joe Biden gave the State of the Union address, Representative Bush tweeted, defund the police.
So if you want Congress to hear you, tweet, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. They pay attention.
Please invest in our communities. I mean, look, they're all dug in on it, right? The Progressive Caucus loves this stuff. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, responding to a report by media that Customs and Border Protection used drones over the protest in Minneapolis following the George Floyd killing. She tweeted, quote, this is what happens when leaders sign blank check after blank check to militarize police, CBP, et cetera, while letting violence go unchecked. We need answers. We need to defund. After New York decided to cut $1 billion from $1 billion, folks, $1 billion from its police department, AOC said that she thought the cuts didn't go far enough. She stated, quote, defunding police means defunding police. Mondaire Jones, Mr. Jones, responding to a question in
$1 billion cut.
Yeah.
2020 about where he stands on criminal justice reform, he said he supports, quote, a suite of criminal justice reforms to address racial inequalities and harms in our justice system, including defunding police and reinvesting this money in health, education, and alternatives to incarceration, unquote. He also commented that a man killed by police in commented about a man killed by police in Sacramento, and he tweeted, quote, "The leadership of the department and all those officers must be fired. Then the department must be dismantled and policing reimagined." Hakeem Jeffries, who's supposed to be the next leader of the Democrat Party in the House, he expressed an openness to defunding the police. He said to CNN, quote, "You have to look at that on a case-by-case basis." Pramila Jayapal, my friend, used different language to support defunding the police. She said, quote, "It is completely reasonable for us to shift significant resources from law enforcement and investing in people," unquote.
Did he just say what I think he said? Hold on.
I'm pretty sure.
This is what happens when leaders sign blank check after blank check to militarize. He said to CNN, quote, "You have to look at that on a case-by-case basis." Pramila Jayapal, my friend, used different language to support defunding the police. She said, quote, "It is completely reasonable for us to shift significant resources from law enforcement and investing in people," unquote. Ilhan Omar.
And investing in people. Shifting resources instead of investing in people. This is what we voted for, guys. Well, not all of us. Be careful
Well, some
what
of
you
us.
vote
Some
for.
of us.
Make sure you read that fine print, because there's always going to be a loophole. They're going to say, we're going to file this law, but with this loophole. Okay? Keep that in mind. And if you watch this channel enough and I play enough of these, you'll start catching on to that. There's like a little amendment to them. There'll be like a little loophole. And it'll say, well, we're going to pass this law, but with this little loophole. Okay. So we really, really, really need to not be like, oh, I'm just going to vote everything on this because this is the person. Really read that fine print, because it could affect you, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. And those are our babies could become the next congressman or president or whatever. And if we're not teaching our younger community better, how are they going to help run the country later? Just saying. If we don't teach them good values and to withhold those good and hold those good values, then they're not going to have those values later. B, welcome in. B, you're welcome to come up. I'll drop that. I think it's pinned, but just in case, I'll drop the link again.
She said she wanted to go further than defunding the police in Minneapolis. She said, quote, "We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department." Because here's the thing, there's a cancer. The Minneapolis Police Department is rotten to the root. And so when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer. Ayanna Pressley, she said, quote, So
instead of dismantling their whole law enforcement, why don't they just go through with like a rake and then rake all the crap out of it and keep the good people and put more good people in there? Because that seems so much better to my brain.
Well, because that would be smart.
Right? It would be intelligent. Puff Muffin 100. 100. Do what?
That would require some intelligence and a natural want to make things better, which they don't.
And you guys,
either of those.
And I've told you guys this before. If you feel, or have you, okay, not if you feel, if you have been wronged by law enforcement or a judge, contact your attorney general's office. It is their job to go and investigate law enforcement. They are the judge and the jury, the law enforcement for law enforcement. So if someone's not doing something right, you go to them, and that is their job, is to go in and investigate to see where it's going wrong, who is doing wrong, and make sure you take your evidence with you. It's exactly how I had to do it, because I had a judge that wasn't listening, was completely crooked, and I had law enforcement that was completely crooked. Thank you very much. They are no longer in law enforcement. Welcome up, B.
That's good.
Hello.
Well, hello.
What's up, B?
So yes, if you have had to deal with law enforcement and they didn't do their job correctly, go to your attorney general, file a complaint. That complaint will be looked at. If you have your evidence with you to show that exactly what they did wrong, if they were not following judicial law and the statutes, they can be removed and have someone put in the place that knows the law and does the job right. Welcome up, B.
Hello. Sorry.
Did you get Din Din?
It was in the middle of consuming it right now.
It wasn't as good as mine. I had Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah. Hot dogs. Let's call it what it is. Come on.
Yeah, there was a hot dog in it, but I fed the hot dog to the dog.
And I
I
want
just
to
ate
find
the
a good
chili and the
steak
bread.
place. I want a good steak place that I can just order and pick it up.
Oh, that would be at Inky's.
I'm not driving that far for a steak.
Oh, come on. I drive that far for Mexican food. Thank you,
Now that I think-
everyone, for being... Huh?
Sorry. I was just going to say, next time you go road tripping, you should take your little portable oven thing you got.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I could take the, what is it called? Air fryer?
I don't
That's
know
not
if
a
it's an
bad
air fryer,
idea.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's an air fryer. Okay, I'll think about that.
Mm-hmm.
The defund movement isn't new. Folks are just finally listening to us. We got money for wars, but can't feed the poor, unquote. Rashida Tlaib commented on defunding the police movement. She tweeted, when we say defund the police, what we mean is people are dying and we need to invest in people's livelihoods instead. I've only got 30 seconds left. I've only got 30 seconds left. We could do this all day. Mr. Chairman, it is ridiculous for you to sit as the chair of this committee and suggest that you all have not been in favor of taking resources and funding away from police. That is the record. I've got citations for everything I just read you. I'm happy to enter it into the record if anybody disputes it, but those are your words and the words of our colleagues.
Will the gentleman enter one
Don't
other?
try to back away
No.
from it right now because the polls say that you should. That is a fact.
Mr. Johnson, will you yield for
I will not yield, Mr. Cicilline. I will not yield. These are the facts.
It's
You guys
only to
keep
ask
trying
whether you would
obscure it.
allow an
I'm out of
introduction
time and I
of
yield
the.
back. On the theme of what you just said.
I love that
You
guy.
know, these lawless criminals.
I love him. I cannot say enough how much I love this guy at all. He will not be railroaded. He gets what he needs to say out. He don't merge. And he sure in the hell won't yield until he is done. Go ahead. Speak your piece.
I think he's from your favorite part of the country as well.
I believe he's from like Mississippi, Louisiana. I think he's from
Yeah.
Louisiana. He's
Yeah,
from
that
the
whole
boot
southern
state,
area
right?
you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that southern
And he's a
area you
church going
like.
guy. And I like the fact that he is not going to be railroaded. He's like, no, you guys have the evidence right in front of you. And you guys aren't doing anything. He's telling this to Congress. He's, you know what I mean? He's like, why aren't you guys listening? You guys not read the paper? You guys don't watch the news?
Who are
I mean, in
literally
reality,
on the
it's
front
true.
lawns of the Supreme Court justice.
Do what?
I said, in reality, it's the truth, though. That's how things are right now.
I know.
This is right now. Talk about not prosecuting crime. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, the DOJ, will not prosecute the clear federal statute, 18 U.S.C. 1507, that makes that a crime. You're not supposed to be able to do that. And their inability, their unwillingness to enforce the law is putting lives in jeopardy. And the very lives that are in jeopardy are the ones that Ms. Escobar just tried to obscure the issue. The bill on the
I don't know if you caught this earlier, B, but he's talking about doxing.
Oh,
And how
really?
it puts them in danger. Listen, I'll play this part again.
floor last night was real simple. Yeah, we know that Supreme Court justices have protection, but their children do not. And the children of the justices of this court, their schools, addresses and locations have been doxxed. Where they go to church is being put out. by Ruth sent us and all these other crazy far leftist groups, and they are jeopardizing the lives. And the fact that 27 of our Democrat colleagues would not vote to give protection to the defenseless, innocent children of justices is not only patently absurd and dangerous, it works to undermine the institution of the court itself. Who wants to be a federal judge in this environment? Who's going to subject themselves and their families to that when the Congress, this branch of government, won't even stand up for the other one? How are our institutions going to survive if our colleagues will not take a simple vote like that? And don't say, oh, well, they voted against it because the bill wasn't broad enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. B,
He
you
knows
know,
what they're gonna
you've been around long enough that you've heard people complain about being doxxed and, you know, their shit aired out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's finally like coming to the surface, like, hey, this could be dangerous. Oh, whoa! Now it's happening in Congress. We can't have it. Watch, there will be a law. I'm telling you, there will be a law that comes about here soon about the whole doxing thing. I'm telling you.
Oh, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people whose real life that affects farther than just like their jobs and their family. It can put people truly in danger.
Get back to the birth certificate shit too.
That's safe for it?
It's like you know you're okay for it. Just know that you hold the health permit.
I thought they said it was going to take
Is
like
that my
6
little
weeks.
flying squirrel in the back?
It sure is.
Hi, Pinky.
Hi, Lovey. Can you give her kisses for me?
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Mwah,
Oh, can you give her kisses for me too? They're like, what the hell?
Well, I'd have to charge you, B. I have to charge you, B.
I'm not paying for it. I'm broke.
Okay, well, just looking at them titties you got right there, that's payment enough for me, man. Like I can't even keep my eyes off you right now.
His wife, his stepkids. They now don't have.
Okay. Here's another great one that I would love for you guys to listen to as soon as it loads. Okay, it's loaded. It just isn't loaded on my screen. You ready?
Yeah.
This gentleman's name is Chip Roy. I believe he's from Texas. Smoking dank. Good to see you. Let's see how many times my little antennas start twitching and on the BS. These are my little twitching antennas, B. These are my bullshit antennas. When I hear bullshit. Yeah.
Have their husband, their father. He went into a house to go protect two people. His partner got shot, sent to the hospital. He's fighting for his life all week. Later that day, a police officer, a woman, committed suicide in the same department in Austin, Texas.
I believe
Later
he's
that
from
night or
Texas.
the next morning, a recently retired police officer in that same department died in a tragic car accident. In a matter of 48 hours, the Austin Police Department lost two of their own, one of their recent own, and one was in the hospital fighting for his life. It was a rough 48 hours. These are strong men and women. They're
So for those of you that are just checking in, I do believe this is a Texas congressman, and I like him just on the ground. He almost sounds like a preacher. Like he'd be really good. I'm gonna have to dig into him and get his background, because if he wasn't, maybe he should be. It's great. Oh, this guy's great. And I know that civics doesn't attract a lot of people, but this is some really good stuff. He's going to bring to light a lot of things that we have discussed, privately within, our small community group of people, about things like the jab and some other things like the wall, that are probably really going to, instill that gut instinct that you had about it, all the more.
Resilient. They'll stay on watch. But it makes me think about, what are they doing? They're putting their lives on the line, standing on that thin blue line to protect us in the face of disparaging remarks about how they're evil, about how they're biased.
It can be.
Defunding by the Austin City Council of $150 million.
$150 million.
Which, by the way, is a part of the mental health issues, a part of the danger that some
Yes,
of these
I
guys
am.
face, a part of the danger that
I don't
we
know what I
send
did
these
with my
guys into
vape.
dangerous situations, into a house, and they're questioning, can they shoot? Can they?
That shouldn't even be a question. If their life is in danger and they feel threat. So any law enforcement that goes through training, if they see a weapon, they have that right if they feel threat. Is that exercise abused by some? Yes. But in today's age, it's dangerous out there, and I get it, and I understand, and a lot of innocent people have, been part of those mishaps, and I feel very, very hurt for those families. But when our law enforcement is afraid to defend, and now they're not, I mean, I couldn't do it, not in today's age. When I was 30, I went out for the FBI. So in today's age, no, I could not do it. I couldn't. There's too many loose cannons running around.
Act.
Yeah.
We're doing that to them. We are. The leaders of this country are doing that to them. They go out, they defend us, they get in a car, they walk and put their bodies in front
Blood
of gangs,
Dragon,
between
drop your
gangs and
link
us.
in chat,
They fight
hon.
drug lords. They stand up against the most violent and insidious evil, and we're back here questioning their plays. We're Monday morning quarterbacking everything they do. So of course they've got issues. Of course it's more dangerous for them. And what are we doing about it? What? What are we doing about it?
Yeah, he's
Because
it's
that cop
Texas
still has to get in the
Republican
car
already.
today. The cop still has to walk the street today. What are we doing to defend them, to protect them?
Thank you, Oladio.
What are we doing for our men and women in uniform who are wondering what they're doing when they have to sit in sessions about social engineering and wokeness training? They're doing it.
Wokeness training. No, they're not learning how to do forensics. They're learning wokeness training. Do I call him a he, a she, a maybe?
That's that dumb shit.
Wokeness training. Is this triggering to anybody else? Because this is kind of triggering to me. Like my little antennas are like going nutso right here. They're like, what is going on, Mom? What wokeness training? Ugh.
Exposed it, put it out on social media, all of the different classes, all of the stuff they have to go through. All I want to do is get trained on how to jump out of helicopters and shoot guns and fly planes and drive boats and figure out how to defend the United States of America, which, by the way, is its mission. You want to know why recruiting levels are in the toilet? Because we're turning it into a social engineering experiment.
Social engineering.
When we set out,
If you guys remember correctly, and you were in my chat yesterday, and I know they'll probably say something. Where is he?
Where's who?
He, she, Meta brought it up yesterday. That exact word usage. Social engineering.
in January to change the House of Representatives, we set out to make this place get back to what we would call regular order. We've had some successes and some monumental failures in doing that. We've had a brief spell where we had something sort of close to resembling open amendments on the floor. We've had some increases in some of the structured rules. That means amendments that we kind of approve, certain ones, not others. We go to the Rules Committee. We have a debate about it, sort of get some debate. We've had 7
You notice there's nobody in there with him, right? Except for the lady sitting behind him. Are y'all still with me? It's because everybody else took off for Turkey Day.
A little early for that,
Appropriations
isn't
bill
it?
pass off the floor. We've had another, I don't know, 3 or 4 get debated fully. Yeah. 226 of the House of Representatives voted by proxy last December to pass $1.7 trillion of disastrous funding to continue to advance the bureaucracy that's at war with the American people. And we Republicans are voting to continue it. That's what a continuing resolution is. We're voting to perpetuate what I would say was an unconstitutional bill. Litigation is currently
Hold
underway
on.
in Texas versus the Department of Justice. I filed an amicus brief in that, which is we're never going to change this town meaningfully if we
I might have
Journal
went
always
too far.
writes-
Hold on. Let me go back a little bit.
if we don't stand up and say there's going to be a moment where we're going to say we're sorry, you don't get to use American people, and they're doing it on a daily basis. The current administration,
Oh,
the Biden
here we go.
administration,
Here we go.
I'm a grandfather. My grandfather was in the Pacific. All my colleagues that go, oh, got to get home for the fundraiser, got to get home for the football game. We have a job to do.
Yeah, here we go.
And when I go home and I look
I'm
at my
trying
kids,
to keep up, stay busy,
gonna
and
tell
chat to
them-
make sure I don't fall asleep. Yes, don't fall asleep because this is about to get real.
that the reason I come here is for them. And they know that. My friend Pat Fallon, who was thinking about not running for re-election, congressman from Texas, district where my parents used to live. They now live in my district. Pat wasn't going to run for re-election. He was going to go back and run for state senate so he could be closer to his family and be in the state of Texas. His son, according to Pat,
Come on.
convinced
come
him not to do that. Pat's father was very proud of him for running for Congress before his father passed away a couple of years ago. And his son said, Dad, you're up there trying to do something bigger. And when you're away from here, we miss you, but we know why you're doing it. So
So there is some people in Congress that really are trying to make changes. It's just when they're outnumbered, it's hard. Like, say for instance, you have, B, me, and G, get to know. And then there's, 6 other people. And we're like, no, these laws need to be changed, but we're outnumbered. So no matter how hard we work at something and try to explain to people this could be detrimental to their life, if we're outnumbered, we're outnumbered. We just need more, I believe, humane and understanding in Congress. Like it's devastating to me. And when I sat here and listened to him today, I was like, oh my gosh. I know this one is kind of long. I believe it's like 3 hours long. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just play bits and pieces of it. I'm going to try to find all the good parts. I've already been on for an hour and a half. So I'll try not to take up too much
to
of
all of our
y'all's time.
families, to all of our wives, to all of our husbands, to all of our children, to all the staff who have been here for 10 straight weeks, thank you. I mean that as a former staffer. I know it's not easy, especially fighting for them. With that, I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Of sorts, but in the eyes of the American people, they've been watching from afar, wondering when this body, the People's House, will stand up in defense of the people who send us here. When are we going to do what we said we would do? When are we going to stand athwart and stop the reckless spending that is bankrupting a country that can no longer issue debt without having Moody's downgrade our rating, without having a treasury auction that is a borderline failure just last week because the people around the world no longer believe in American debt because we are now spending so much money. We have
Welcome in, Kaylee. I've missed you. She said she
No.
was listening to me on 2 times chipmunk speed.
So you sounded like her.
Well, the whole beginning part of it was about her, like her, she has this innate ability to do true crime where I really have no interest in it. I like dealing with facts and forensics. She likes dealing with the deep diving and the digging and looking at pictures and saying, hey, this doesn't look right. And she's really good at piecing puzzles together like that. So, yeah.
We have so much debt. We have more debt than we've ever had in the history of mankind. We have more debt than we had at the end of World War II after we exercised wars in 2 theaters to free this world of tyranny. And if we have to exercise our defense against foreign enemies today, and we have to ratchet up more spending to defend not just our country, but to defend the very freedoms under which we operate, we don't have the resources to do it. We don't have the supply chains to do it because we're sitting around here twiddling, talking about setting up offices of equity. That's what we're doing. And my colleagues on this side of the aisle utterly refuse to actually do what they say they do when they're going to go campaign against critical race theory and diversity, equity, inclusion, and campaign against Mayorkas and campaign against open borders. And what do? They come into this chamber and they vote down amendment after amendment after amendment to cut spending and to stop funding the very bureaucrats that are undermining the freedom of this country. We have an administration that is at war with the people of the United States.
Yep.
Nothing less.
Amen to that. They are not working for us. They are against us. They are for themselves. Facts, exactly.
The current administration is undermining the prosperity of the American people, and they're doing it on a daily basis. The current administration, the Biden administration, is undermining our ability to defend ourselves under the Second Amendment, undermining our ability to carry out our free speech rights and our First Amendment rights.
Yep.
Undermining our ability to live free from crime and free from the danger of dangerous cartels and dangerous gangs flooding across the southern border of the United States. Every single day, another Texan dies from fentanyl poisoning. Every single day, another Texan dies, like last week, 2 Texans, 2 Hispanic Texans who died tragically in a car accident when you had an illegal immigrant moving people across our border into Texas. And you had somebody who was human smuggling, who was speeding and killed these.
But wait, America wouldn't do that, would they? Of course they wouldn't.
Nope, not America.
Not here.
Impossible.
Chip is like a wrestler throwing everyone out of the ring. Yes, I'm telling you, this is where it gets good. Like, this guy had me on the edge of my seat. I'm like, either he's a pasture or something. And some of it I don't understand. A lot of it I do, but I'll be like, I don't know what that word is. Hold on, let me get my book out. Everyone should have a dictionary readily available, especially in today's society.
And the stores.
No pun intended on the he, she pronoun thing. So, and I'm like going, oh, that's what this means. Like, I talk about it in layman's terms. I digress.
2 American citizens. When is this going to stop? When are my Republican colleagues going to put up or shut up?
Yep.
We have bills voting down impeaching Alejandro Mayorkas. They go down. We have bills trying to cut spending, and we have games being played by appropriators right here, sitting in the Rules Committee night before.
Yes, you just heard that. He is telling you, the people, it is crooked as shit in Congress.
Last, I had appropriators looking at me and talking about the side deals that were cut to keep spending money, to set up funds in slush funds. That's the way this town operates. Slush funds, backroom deals, continuing to spend money we don't have. I am sick and tired of it. I didn't come here for second place. I didn't come here for more excuses. I didn't come here to have the Speaker of the House assume the position and in 17 days pass a continuing resolution off the floor of this House through suspension of the rules. $400 billion, including an extension of the Farm Bill, doesn't do anything about the Chinese Communist Party ownership of our lands. Doesn't do anything to protect small ag and to protect small ranchers from big ag and all the big corporate adventures getting rich based on the policies from this body. When is it going to be enough? Is $34 trillion of debt not enough?
Yeah, you
$2
heard that
trillion
right.
deficits not enough? Another American dying from fentanyl or from cartels? Terrorists coming across our southern border, not enough? Our babies being put in ovens in Israel, not enough? We have the Senate yesterday who chose expansion of the internal.
He goes on to tell you that that baby that was put in the oven while the mom was being raped. Yeah.
Revenue Service over standing with Israel. And what are my Republican colleagues doing? They are all too happy to have this vote go down today and get on their airplanes and go home for turkey at Thanksgiving. Why aren't we putting another bill on the floor of the House right now and sending it over to the Senate to shove it down their throats, to say that we Republicans stand for cutting spending? We Republicans stand for standing with Israel. We Republicans stand for securing the border of the United States.
Because we ain't safe till it is.
No. Let's just go back and go raise some money so we can do more fundraisers, so we can then try to get elected, so we can come back here and offer more excuses for why we don't get the job done. You know what the excuse will be next year? Oh, well, we won the House and we won the Senate, if we could even do that, but we don't have 60 in the Senate, Chip. We can't do what you want to do because we don't have 60 votes in the Senate.
Now, if they would have just stayed there and handled business instead of being so worried about their personal life. I mean, these are the people that are in control of our country, right? So why should the House even be allowed to close until something has been agreed upon? Like, if you go to court, you guys have watched enough true crime. When you're in a trial and they're sent to their little room, they stay in there until a decision's been made. Unless it's over the weekend, then they're allowed to go home, but they're not supposed to get on the phone. They're not supposed to talk about it with anybody till the decision is made. If it takes 10 hours, whatever, they'll stay in there. So why doesn't our Senate have to do that? Why is there not a resolution before they get to run off until Christmas or run off until New Year's? You know what I mean? Kind of worries
It's
me.
because they make their own rules.
They do. Hi, Brother Ryan.
I've heard nothing but excuses for the 20 years that I've either been a staffer in this town, back in Texas watching it closely, or now back as a member. Nothing but excuses. Nothing but empty promises. And the time for those excuses is over.
Exactly.
Today we took down a rule. Yes, because it was a closed rule. We had a closed rule, which means you can't amend it. The Rules Committee put forward a bill for Iran to go, quote, freeze the $6 billion sitting in
Do you hear
Qatar
this?
through a closed rule.
Oh
We
my
were not
gosh.
allowed to amend it.
What?
Such is
Y'all heard that right? Yeah, I hope so. Keep listening.
the way things operate in the people's house if we don't police it every single day. We changed things in January. We've been opening the place up, but that was a reversion right back to the mean. You can't amend it, little boy. You're just a backbencher. You know what? Yes, we will.
I hope you all heard that right about the money that was
It's a
supposed to be
lot of
frozen.
money.
Oh, that is
Yep.
a lot of money. And he's going to tell you they're not just making money off us, but they're also making money off China because they're selling oil to China. To do what? What do you think they're going to do with that money?
Resell it to us later. Oh, the money itself. Pad their pockets.
Nope. Well, I mean, they will. Just guess, chat. Just guess what Iran is going to do with that money. Use your
They're going to
imagination.
use it to develop weapons and shit against America.
Very good. Very
I
You're
hear
good.
telling me they're going
We
to
will force amendments because we had a better approach than a simple freezing of the $6 billion. You know what we wanted to do?
Just
We
cut it
wanted
off.
to tell Iran no more. We're going to force the administration to stop issuing waivers to sanctions against Iran so we can stop the enrichment of Iran at the expense of Israel and at the expense of our own national security. Just yesterday, another $10 billion of waivers, $10 billion of waivers for Iran
10
to sell
billion.
electricity to Iraq. We are enriching Iran to be at war with us. We are enriching Iran to fund the killing of Jews in Israel. And yet Republicans just whistle by, just say, oh, let's just issue you a little bill. Let's just do $6 billion of
This is $6 billion.
freezing these assets in Qatar. Why don't you stop the actual blood money? Why don't you actually?
Why don't they? Are they afraid of pissing someone off? Who's in Congress that would get pissed off? That's what I want to know. Who's the squeaky wheel that's getting oiled in Congress?
Who is the squeaky wheel of big oil?
Is it the Bidens?
Indeed.
Stand up and stop Iran from making billions of dollars giving oil to China. We talk a big game about Ukraine. We wear our little blue and yellow pins. Look at us. Look how compassionate we are to help people. Well, what the hell are we actually doing? Blank checks to Ukraine to go into the pockets of oligarchs, massive corruption, all getting documented by the day.
Wait, did he just say mass corruption? Is he saying that our Congress has mass corruption? But we're conspiracy theorists. This is right up Kaylee's alley because she is big on this. There's some crooked shit out there, you guys. Be careful. I'm telling you. I've been saying it all along. If you've been around me long enough, you've heard me say it. It ain't right.
Say it's Operation Northwoods.
We sent
Operation
a bill over
Northwoods
to the
explains
Senate.
enough. Just check it
Democrats
out.
killings that rather side with the IRS than Israel. And we can't even move a bill to hip check the Iranians who want to kill us and exterminate the Jews in Israel. They don't hide behind it. They don't shy away from it. They openly say it. And here we are, and I'm in an empty chamber because everybody wants to go home and have their turkey. And we haven't done anything. Literally, the House Republican majority. What we've accomplished this year is the following. We have
Wait till you hear this.
increased
This
the
is
debt
it.
of the United States $4 to $6 trillion. We don't actually know the amount because we set a date to January of 2025 with skyrocketing interest rates. So it's going to be a $4 to $6 trillion increase in your debt.
Our debt. As the cats, what? Exactly. Let's see. Kaylee says, we are funding the war. Exactly. We are funding the war against ourselves. How absurd does that sound? Can I get a, oh, yeah.
Please don't do that again. Come on.
Check. What else have we done?
I
Well, we've
said the-
passed
I
two
said the
continuing
exact same
resolutions
thing,
of the Nancy
B.
Pelosi spending bills and priorities. Something to the tune of
Can I get a
probably about $600 or $700 billion worth of spending when you add the farm bill into it. That's what we've done. That's what the
I
Republican
can't wait for
majority has
Kaylee to
done.
go back and listen to that. and
When are
must
we
be-
going to act like a Republican majority and start fighting? When are we going to do anything to truly cut spending instead of playing games? Yes, we've passed 7 appropriations bills. Yes, we've adopted some cuts, and I'm proud of those cuts. Yes, we've adopted some strong policies in the NDAA and passing H.R. 2, the border security bill. But all of that is a tree falling in the forest if we are unwilling to lock arms and fight.
Exactly.
It does you no good to get all your ammunition ready and get all prettied up and get in the boats. And when you get to the beaches in Normandy, say, sorry, I don't think we can climb the cliffs because now's not the right time. When is the right time? Because nobody's going to just stand up one day and say, guess what, boys? It's June 6th. It's time to get up and fight. Because right now, all I'm hearing is excuses. All I'm hearing are reasons why we can't do what we campaign on doing. We can't have a shutdown. Okay, well, then why don't you just take your voting card, walk over to the other side of the aisle and say, thank you, sir, may I have another? Because that's what we're doing. If we don't stand up and say, there's going to be a moment where we're going to say, we're sorry, you don't get to use taxpayer dollars and, more importantly, borrowed money to
Borrowed.
continue to stick it to the American people every day with open borders, dangerous communities, skyrocketing interest rates, skyrocketing inflation, an inability to educate your children without them being indoctrinated, an inability to have a job without being told you got to get a vaccine, an inability to
Here we go.
have your business open during a pandemic because a bunch of tyrants shut your livelihood down, and now we do nothing about it, an inability to have a national defense that isn't woke and focused on, you know, diversity, equity, inclusion, and transgender surgeries and abortion tourism, rather than actually killing people and blowing things up, which is what the military is supposed to be trained to do. What in the hell are we doing in this chamber? We talk about these leaders of the law that are put up on the walls around the.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. Would you guys like to tell me what you think? Like, this dude is on point. Just saying. If you understand at least a third of what he's saying, and if you have any questions on what he's saying, just feel free to ask. But just a third of what he's saying.
Can we vote him as for president?
I know, right? Him or the other one, Mike Johnson, I'd vote him for president too. Like, can we put him on the ballot? Either one of these guys. Yeah. But they won't do it because, you know, they're too controversial. They don't want someone that they can't bribe into doing what they want. You know what I mean? Kaylee says,
They'll-
have you seen the reserves? People aren't lining up to enlist. Would you? Kaylee, I don't know if you got to hear it, but I mean, like, they ain't getting anything for pay. And if we have a complete government shutdown, nobody that's government paid is going to get paid.
That and a lot of these kids nowadays are kind of the men are on the feminine side. I'll just leave it at that.
Beta. And there's nothing wrong with men being in the touch with their emotions. There's nothing wrong with men being able to express their emotions. I'm all down for that. 1000%.
Everybody
But
should know how to use a gun.
I don't think their job is to learn pronouns. Their job is to learn to go blow things up, like he said. Their job is to go over there and protect those people and us people.
Well, you
Because
can't
you're not
worry
going to
about-
see you're not going to see any other country send their troops. What happens if America, I just want everyone to just take just 5 seconds. What if America fails? What if we need help from other countries?
We are failing. What are you talking
We're
about? What
fucked.
if?
Hold on.
Well, yeah,
hold
we
on.
are failing.
I know. What country is going to come protect us? What
I'm going
country is going to
Canada.
send their military over here to protect
Nobody.
us if we start getting blown up?
No one.
So what are we doing wrong?
Katie's got it.
He's
on
he's
right
about to tell you. He's about to tell you, and you've heard it in chat. Other countries laugh at our country. We are the laughing stock of the world. We used to be like the well-renowned United States, the world of freedom, the American dream. And other countries are like, they're not even scared anymore. That's sad. That other countries don't fear America. We no longer have the prominent dollar. And that's horrible that our country has got to where it's at today. it's about to get real good. He's
The
about
chamber,
to talk
including
about the shot
Moses.
and everything.
And we're walking away from Moses and the people
Drain
of
the
Israel by
swamp.
not standing up and defending Israel, by ensuring that we force the Senate to do their job. I would have shoved down the throats of the United States Senate a funding bill that included Israel and dared Chuck Schumer to shut the government down and go home and eat turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we walk away. Continuing resolution, ladies and gentlemen, we'll fight in January. Enough of continuing to do the same old, which is all we're doing.
I love Swampy. Leave her alone.
We give tours over to Arlington National Cemetery. When you fly into Washington, D.C., as one of my friends, the governor of Florida, Governor DeSantis, likes to point out, as a man who wore the uniform, as a man who served his country, when he flies into Washington Reagan, DCA, and you fly along the Potomac and you look to your left, he says in stories, you see the monuments. You see the Washington Monument. You see the Lincoln Memorial. You see the Jefferson Memorial. You see this Capitol building sitting of the law, expansive uses of asylum and parole to allow terrorists and criminals to come into the United States and endanger the American people so that we
Hold
can
on.
be here.
Sorry.
The people I represent are sick and tired of it. People say, well, Chip, why do you get so animated on the floor? Because somebody has to stand up for the people whose voices want to be heard in this town. If I see another bill, another measure, another amendment, another office focused on diversity, equity, inclusion,
This is where he talks about the
focused
wall.
on all of these
we're not
nonsensical
safe.
programs that we can't even afford, much less if they're good for the United States of America, rather than figuring
Yes, I want to know. Get to know. What was the big event? I know we had a meteor shower. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it has to do with our government.
Oh,
The Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, made a public announcement. I don't remember the exact number he said, but it was in the trillions of dollars. Something like $2.2 trillion of defense tax money was not only missing and unaccounted for, but they weren't going to do an inquiry into it at all whatsoever. Just so happens the next day, the the military defensive spending department just happened to be in line with one of the flying objects that hit the building. Specifically, the Defense Department. Kind of weird. Like if you want to know how corrupt our government has become, I'm telling you, look up.
yeah. Why don't
Operation
you look at their
Northwest.
tax
It'll
records?
blow your mind, dude.
Like, there's so much money that we don't
Yeah.
know where it's at. And for instance, even California, they were supposed to basically give out all their information on where all the money has gone, and they have yet to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every state has
You
to
don't think that
be
they-
accountable. Like they have to have a profits and loss sheet too. So, they have to say, oh, this money went here. This is what we got in. This is what went out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of money missing.
I mean, you don't really think that our government spent $56,000 for a toilet seat, right? $30,000 for a hammer, do you? I mean, if you do, then
No, because
Hey,
normally the
maybe
military just
go
makes
get
that stuff.
Well, in reality,
I mean,
they
for
do,
real.
but it's part of a backdoor deal. Yeah, they'd have a receipt for a $5,000 hammer or whatever the case may be, but it's a friend of a friend hooked
Right,
up his buddy that owns the supplier that got him this.
right. But there's no hammer on the face of the planet that costs $5,000. You know what I mean? The $56,000 toilet seat. Come on.
I'm telling you, there's some shady stuff. It's been going on.
figuring out how to have bullets and planes
For a
and
long,
boats
long time.
to stand up and defend this country and defend freedom, rather than standing up and securing our border and giving the Border Patrol what they need, rather than making them show up to the border every day.
Wait, you guys watched this with me. I played the show where people were just walking across.
Yep.
Do you know that probably would have never made it to national television had YouTubers not gone out there and posted it? It was bothered so much. Come on. Elon Musk went out there to see it with his own eyes. He's like, this couldn't be real. This got to be fake people, right?
Outmanned, outgunned, and with a mission to usher people into the United States falsely under the name of compassion, using false interpretations of the law, expansive uses of asylum and parole to allow terrorists and criminals to come into the United States and endanger the American people. The police officer in Austin, Texas, that I went to the vigil for on Sunday night, he was killed by somebody on the terrorist watch list. What in the hell is wrong with this country? Are we not sovereign? Do we not believe that we should secure this country for the people of the United States? If this body were serious, we wouldn't leave town without ensuring that we're secure. We would not leave town without forcing Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden to the table because Republicans control this chamber, or at least they say they're Republicans. For the life of me, I do not understand how you can go to the trouble of campaigning, raising money, going to events, talking to people, coming to this town as a member of a party who allegedly stands for something, allegedly stands for reducing spending, allegedly stands for eliminating debt, securing the border, strong military, ending the wokeness that is killing and corrupting our schools and our kids, and then do nothing about it. One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me
just one thing. Just get a bill on the table, get it voted on, and clear it up. But it's kind of like YouTube. It's like controversial. They like to argue.
That would be giving the American people what they want and deserve, right?
Yeah, but
Can't
not
have
all
that.
American people have. They don't all have the same moral
have that.
values, and that's the problem. So remember what I was saying in the beginning was, you have Group A, B, and C. You have Group A, okay? You have Group B, and you have Group C. You have the group that says we want these rights. You have Group C that says no, we're going to be far right, and we want things traditional, biblically speaking. Then you got the people in the middle that are like, well, it doesn't involve me, so, it is what it is. Just give the people what they want. That's what the problem is. Because our country is no longer, I know Kaylee's heard me talk about this before. It is no longer biblically ran where, how do I say this? So, like, the country was built on
People have
biblical
lost touch
law.
with God.
Biblical law.
Yeah.
And when we don't follow that biblical law, it's nothing but chaos.
I mean, let's be real. Laws in general right now they're being more catered to a specific group either way.
Yeah, it's either the Group B, which is give the people what they want, so everybody's quiet. Free world, free country, right?
Yes, they can keep taking advantage of the system, stealing money, things like that.
Millions of dollars just on welfare recipients. Billions of dollars gets lost in transaction with welfare recipients. They don't even get the money. You think they get the money. They don't always get the money. It's being shuffled and washed back to other countries.
thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One.
Pacifying everyone.
Anybody sitting in
Exactly,
the complex,
Kaylee.
if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done besides, well, I guess it's not as bad as the Democrats. That reminds me of the line from Patton when he said, well, you won't have to say, well, I was shoveling crap in Louisiana.
Chicken shit.
Because that's what we're doing. No
Haley's
offense to
gonna
my
know
friends
that
in
joke.
Louisiana. My mom grew up in Louisiana. I don't understand how we can watch a world
I do.
building up to take us out. China, Iran, places all around the world who want to undermine the United States of America, and we're doing nothing about it. We are not moving manufacturing capacity to the Western Hemisphere into our own country. We are not eliminating the debt problem that is crippling our ability to finance our own existence, finance freedom, and ensure that the dollar remains the currency of the world.
Twinkle, twinkle,
We're doing nothing to
little
secure our own border
star,
and establish our own
how
sovereignty
I
and defend
wonder
ourselves from
what
dangerous
you
fentanyl pouring into
are.
our communities.
What is wrong
We are
with you?
doing nothing to ensure that our kids are educated to believe in this
so
country, believe in freedom, believe in Western civilization, and believe in God.
It's pretty
sky.
We've walked away from every single principle that made this country great, all in the name of being politically correct and woke.
I wonder what you
And it is a damned shame for all of the people who have stood up and fought to make this country great, to defend its principles, to defend our freedom, to defend limited government, to defend the principles in the Constitution, to defend the Bill of Rights. What good are they if we're going to throw them all away? But we're doing it.
Exactly. All they're doing is they're just coming in, arguing over some stuff, and then leaving, and nothing gets resolved.
On a daily basis. You're worried about FISA when our border is wide open?
Oh, wait.
You can walk open. We are going to crumble under our own weight in the very name of the liberties that
Here we go.
say that we want to protect. We're not protecting them. And then we're going to crumble under them because we're going to be blind to the enemies coming across our border. It's happening in real time, and we know it. We're having to force every bit of information we can get out of the administration. But there are known terrorists.
We have to force the knowledge out of our administration just to know the truth. It's about to get real.
Known terrorist sympathizers who are coming across our border.
Every day.
They're looking at us and laughing. They are seeing our border and they know they can exploit it. We're worried about FISA. I had some of my colleagues preaching about the need for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to go stop our foreign enemies. Okay, I'll spot you. I think we need to make sure we've got the tools so long as they're protecting American civil liberties. But you're worried about FISA when our border is wide open? You can waltz across the Rio Grande, look at the Border Patrol and say, hi, I'm here, and get released into the United States.
We watched it with our
And
own
we don't
eyes.
do anything about it. That's not a sovereign nation. That's not a free
safe.
nation. You are not free if you are not secure. You are not free if your border is open and exposed to terrorists. You are not free
Amen.
if you are spending money you don't have to indebt your children and grandchildren to a future where you are no longer able to fund freedom.
How can we fund it when we're giving it
How
away
are
to the
we going to
people that
fund
are
the national defense with a
committing
dollar
this
that's not
against
worth
us?
anything?
we're
Anybody
funding their
seen the absolute
ability
devastation in
to
countries
bring
with
war against
skyrocketing
us?
inflation that goes off the charts? Zimbabwe or countries that have had this over the years? That's where we're headed.
Our dollar.
We
is
are
like
not free if
nothing.
we are not sovereign. We are not free without secured borders. We are not free if our military is not strong and not woke. We are not free if we're not able to exercise our First Amendment rights without being censored, which is happening every single day. How are you free if you lost your job because you didn't want to take an experimental vaccine?
I'm going to make him
It
big
had-
screen right now.
Zero to precious little testing, depending on who you listen to. Now with
Man.
massive amounts of evidence demonstrating vaccine-oriented injuries, somehow you weren't free to be able to go exercise your rights as a human to go carry out your livelihood so you can take care of your family, you're not free. That's not a free country. What have we done? How many hearings have we had about COVID tyranny? A couple? Kind of brushed aside? What have we done? Have we done anything to hold Anthony Fauci?
Have they done anything? All of our lives in the United States, in the whole world, was put on hold over a lie.
You know, I was thinking about, we had that discussion earlier today. I remember going to the hospital with you, and I wasn't allowed to go into the hospital because I didn't have a vaccine that they now found out would potentially harm me. How ridiculous is that? Well, the vaccine they wanted to give me would have literally put me in the hospital, or could have. That's just insane to me.
Accountable? Have we done anything at all to uncover how a country like this could shut down the largest economy in the history of the world, shut down people's abilities to live their lives, force people to take vaccines, force people to walk around with masks on their face, or get fined on the very floor of the House of Representatives? Have we done any kind of expose for the American people about how that should never happen again? No. The American people didn't send us here for this. They didn't. They didn't send us here to keep doing the same thing. Nobody runs for Congress to keep doing the same thing that they think is wrong.
What happens when we do things over and over again and get the same result? What is that called?
Insanity.
Insanity. To do the same thing over and over and over again and get the same result. And nothing gets done.
Nope.
People wonder, said, well, Chip, you're criticizing Congress. You must not like Congress very much. Well, Congress polls at like 17%. So I feel like if I'm against Congress, I'm with 83% of the American people. And I'm right. Every time I go back to Texas, and I'm starting to think, gosh, man, are you crazy? You're up here, you're beating your head against the wall, you're talking to people, and they go, oh, Chip, you're crazy. We can't get that done. We can't force the Senate to do that. You're living it. No, we got to win the presidency. We got to win more seats in the House. We got to do better in the Senate. I've been hearing that my whole life. And we've never done anything, whether we had 56 members in the Senate, 47, whether we had a majority with 260, or whether we've got our thin majority now, whether we had someone in the White House or not. Because with all due respect to former President Trump, they sure as hell didn't get border security done when we had the White House and the House and the Senate. Nothing. Talked a big game about building a wall and having Mexico pay for it. Ain't no wall, and Mexico didn't pay for it. And we didn't pass any border security. We had Good Lat 1 and Good Lat 2. Nobody in America knows what the hell those are, but what they know is our border's wide open. This year, we passed an actually excellent border security bill.
When's it going to be
Everyone
enacted?
in Washington wants us to walk away from that and do something. Oh, Chip, you can't get that done in the Senate. You'll never get Joe Biden to sign that. But with that self-fulfilling prophecy, you're correct. With that self-fulfilling prophecy, you are.
So what he's saying is they have this amazing plan, but nobody's agreeing with him on it. They're like, that'll never happen. You're never going to convince them to do that. That is their job, is to take the document and say, here, I want you to read this. This is necessary. You need to sign this. Our country is in danger. But everybody's afraid to argue that 18%. They don't want to be in trouble by their community because they don't agree with this new wokeness. My little antennas are like,
That wokeness.
screw
bullshit's
the
gonna
wokeness. I don't need to be woke, unwoke, rewoke, whatever they want to call it. I have it right here in my heart, and I have it in my gut, and I know what's right and what's wrong, and so do you all, and anyone that plans to watch it in the future. Go with your gut. We are technically still a free country, and you have the right to make that choice. You do not have to do something because someone tells you to do it. And that includes law enforcement. If you have a problem with something that's been said to you or done to you by the legal system or law enforcement, take it to the AG. Because you have rights as a human being to make those choices for yourself. Go ahead, B.
What's that?
If you guys want to listen to a little bit of the rest of this, it probably will repeat. So I don't know how far into it that it started over. I know it started over about 15 minutes ago. And so that's where I was like, oh, okay, here we are at the beginning, because when they recorded it, they recorded probably the end of it and then caught up with the beginning. So if you would like me to continue, type a 1 in chat. If you want to finish it tomorrow, type a 2 in chat. And I will save it where it's at. Go ahead, B. B always has to be complicated. Types of 4 in chat.
I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna go back to work.
Well, you have a good night at work. Well, do you want to give your
I was gonna put
opinion
an 8.
first?
Yeah. We're fucked. This country is fucked. I'm not to the where I feel like it's a lost cause yet, but we're getting close. Like when this country is more focused on a word that somebody says that hurts me when you say that, then we are on real actual problems like, I don't know, pedophilia, trafficking, trillions of our taxpayer dollars going to God knows where to do God knows what. The fact that this country, most of the country, has lost the vision of what God is about and what they want. It's horrible. We're living in what could become the darkest times in American history. I think. Like this is the catalyst. This is the catalyst to what could be the end of civilized America as we know it, for real. And we just sit back and focus on things like, well, you know, stupid shit more than what is serious. Like, people don't realize that the American citizens, we outnumber the number of people we have in every government office in the United States 10-1, 15-1, but yet we let a handful of pieces of shit determine and dictate what we can and cannot do, or can and cannot say, and straight lie to us. And we continually let them get away with it because we're too afraid to say what we really want to say and say enough's enough. This is fucking bullshit, and we're not going to stand for it anymore. Like, people have lost sight of what the Bill of Rights says. Like, it doesn't say we, a select handful of people. It says we, the people, to form a more perfect. We, the people. What does that mean? We. Like, we have the right to, when our government is no longer doing the job that we hired them to do, we put them in office to do for us. We have it's not only a right, it's our duty to stand up and change it. If we don't, it's considered treason. And I don't know if you guys know what's the punishment for treason in America? The big sleep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So The fact that the fact that the majority of us sit around and do nothing but bitch and complain about the shit, you're actually committing treason against your own country.
But
Mhm.
that's just
And
a
this
lot of
is
people.
and this is exactly
have-
why I said this is exactly why I said, you know, when we go to vote, make sure you're reading the fine print on those
Yeah.
voting cards. Make sure you research each of those things that you vote on, because you don't know what the fine print says. You don't know what the loophole is.
Yeah.
Laws have loopholes for reasons. And, you know, some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them can be used for good, some of them can be abused. And you have to read and make sure that you understand. If you don't, pull out the dictionary. I do. If I don't understand what something means,
Yeah.
I pull out my law dictionary, or I pull out a regular dictionary and be like, what does this mean? And I'm 50.
Yeah. Knowledge
But
is
that's how we
power.
learn.
But I think
And knowledge is power. Exactly.
I think
Knowledge is power.
I
But
I think this country. Go ahead.
what I was saying is, we have to step up and say something. We have to vote, and we have to vote correct. We have to help support the
Yeah.
ones that we know are actually doing their due diligence to help protect us as a community as a whole, not for their own personal reasons. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
some people just say, oh, well, we're going to do this. But look at their history. I don't want to hear what you think you're going to do or what you want us to think that you're going to do. I want to see a history of you trying to make change. Kind of like this guy.
I want to see what you've done. Yeah, I want to see what you've done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, this
And so
country
many-
has lost
So many
sight
people.
and has
Exactly.
lost touch with the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. Those are the most important documents for this country, and people don't know what they are anymore. Like,
People are too
all
busy;
of our
they can't be
problems-
bothered looking into it.
right? All of our issues can be settled and figured out and come to a resolution by following the Bill of Rights. Like, the Bill of Rights was not designed to change, but to change with the future. You know, like, the laws that are in it were not meant to be changed, but they were meant to grow with the change of technology, of civilization. They weren't made to change. Does that make sense? Or am I just sounding totally stupid?
No, you make sense.
Like, they were meant not to be changed, but to change with the time that we live in. Like,
Yes.
when, you know, it's
But that
just
doesn't
ridiculous.
that
And you
changing
all
with
these
the
amendments
time,
onto
but
it,
that
and
doesn't mean that our kids need to know
Changing
what freaking pronouns are.
right.
At least
Right.
not
Like,
outside of them reading a book. She
mean-
jumped over the log. Well, what does she mean now? Now our kids are going to be like, well, what does that mean? Is she a she, he, she, she, it, a she tiger? You know,
it's
our kids are going to be all confused.
of those. Yeah.
And these are the
One
kids
fish,
that are
two
going to be
fish,
running
red
our
fish, black
country
fish.
when we're
Person
gone. This is what we're raising, you guys. If we don't stop it, this is what's going to be running our country. And there's people that don't have children that are like, well, it doesn't pertain to me. So I'm not saying anything about you, B. I'm saying other people that, you know, the ones that like
Why you point me out?
are just here to just float through life and not try to make a
Okay,
change.
all you fine folks, I'm out of here. I love you guys. Have a good night. I'm gonna go make some money. So
Okay. Well, I will be doing
Hello.
another live after this, and it's going to be about red flags. Red flags of child predators. So stay tuned, because I will be doing another live after this one because I don't want any more convoluted lives. I've been doing pretty good about not doing that. So if you would like to join me
All
for
right.
that one, you're welcome to
right.
hang out and chat, or I know you'll be driving and working and stuff. So, but I appreciate you being up
Sounds
here
good.
as
always.
always. Love you
As
muches.
always. And love you
Don't
too.
forget,
B,
if
it's
you
always a pleasure.
if
Yes.
you or Sugar Glider could make sure that you put your link in chat so people can connect with you, that would be awesome.
Okay, I will do that.
Get to know. We have a project tomorrow, and that is to work on your GoFundMe for your BBL.
Nice.
What's a BB?
Like-
my
So we-
God.
I can't like I'm like
We need
Like,
to
for
do a
real.
live stream
B,
on
if you've seen
just the BBL.
if you
Okay.
like
What's a BBL?
it's
Brazilian
a
butt
Brazilian
lift.
butt lift.
Oh God, come on.
Piggy,
No, he has none.
Piggy, you can share my
It's like
pictures.
it's like
you can share
maybe
my
10
picture of
inches
my-
wide. He has a little
You can
teeny
share,
tiny
you can
butt.
share my picture with him. It's not even there, man.
His butt's
I'm
probably
the
smaller
same
than
way,
mine.
but nobody's getting a GoFundMe.
Well, it was a
It wasn't
decision
my
that
idea.
we
Really
as a
small
group made.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna start a GoFundMe for his BBL.
Okay.
Deal. Okay. This,
It'll be
this is how the
fun.
deal went
It'll
down.
be
This is how the
fun
deal
and
went
it'll
down.
be
Katie
entertaining.
started making fun of me. Yeah, Katie started making fun of me because I have a prosthetic testicle. Okay, so that went from there, and she said, "Don't even get him started on his ass." So that got me started on my ass. And Harley Dad said, "Well, you know what?" He's like, "You know what? If it's really that bad, and I have a reaction like, oh my God, you don't have an ass, then we will start you a GoFundMe account for your ass." So I took a picture, fully clothed, of my no have an ass, and I sent it to him, and his reaction was, "Oh my God, you don't have an ass." So I earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy picks on me
You know,
too. So
I mean-
what?
Well, we should start
Oh, I
a
don't care.
GoFundMe for you. Do you need nauticals?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the boys are fine.
What kind of
I'm good
prosthetic
with-
do you
I'm good
need?
with having I'm good with having a plastic testicle or a fake testicle. I just not okay with not having an ass. Like
Is
I'm the only
Kaylee-
person in the
is
history of
Kaylee
people having
laughing?
asses
She's
that don't have
laughing
one.
in chat.
I'm not even paying
She
attention
said,
to her right
"Bless
now.
his
So
heart."
who won? Who won bingo? Who won bingo that one night? That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Just
well,
saying.
you hop
Bye,
off.
Kaylee. Love you, sweetheart.
You start work. B, are you coming on for the next one? Okay.
Which one is it about?
She goes, "You should start a GoFundMe for butt hurt tantrums."
See,
Hell, yeah, and you seen the butt hurt tantrum yet? That wasn't even livid. That wasn't even like worked up. That was just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we should start
Interesting.
starting random GoFundMes. Okay. I
Yeah,
love
why
you
not?
all. Mwah.
Later, guys.
Here, let me yeah. I need to start another
just
one.
end it. Start the new one.
Okay,
All right.
I'll do
bye.
that. I love you all. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share.